Amuro Ray is the beginning of it all, a legacy that is still kicking strong right now. As a casual Gundam fan, I wanted to explore the Titan franchise after the first few contacts, and for me, there is only one way to start: the very beginning. Suffice to say, it is beyond fantastic for a bountiful of reasons, as I am about to tell you, blowing my expectations. And a seed has been planted in my heart ever since. I have total confidence to say that Gundam 79 is quintessential mecha, nay, Japanese sci-fi, nay, fiction in general. To this day, it aged incredibly well. If you are mindful of spoilers, this video contains plenty, and I highly recommend you to watch the show before my video, or allow me to convince you to. The original TV series or the 3-part movies is your choice, but I recommend the former. Just do it. It's a show that will never be irrelevant as long as you love the medium. Also, if you'd like to see a diversity of anime and manga content, you can support me by subscribing to the channel and sharing any of my videos around. I can't promise you to cover mecha anime all the time, but it is a pipe dream of mine to have different fandoms appreciating shows outside of their circles. Just look at me, I check out Gundam and I have nothing but praise for it. To my knowledge, it is extremely hard to run a channel like this, so you have my gratitude for giving me a push. Now that I got those out of the way, let me tell you why I love the main character of the show, in an unorthodox way but still hoping it is fun for you new fans or old. It is the year 0079 of Universal Century, wartime between these guys. A few Zeon soldiers infiltrated their enemy's colony, which is also where our tech junkie boy, Amuro, lives. The mission is to spy on the enemy. They found nothing except the secret weapon prototype of their enemy on the move. And so sabotage commenced. Amuro, being caught in between the fire due to his own tardiness, decided to take his chance against his nation's enemy by jumping into said secret weapon, known as the ever-popular Gundam, created by his dad. His dad, a talented scientist, is extremely relevant because right away he gets vacuumed out to space from the hole his son made by accident during the fight, and joined the ship White Base in order to escape Site 7. Yup, things get dark as soon as the very first episode. The story will then follow White Base and its ragtag unit of a diverse cast, formed by normal citizens with little to no military training being propelled into the midst of real concurrent war. In a show packed with well-written and lovable characters, why do I feel gravitated towards the main character? To be honest with you, I first found Amuro to be not as appealing among so many stars in the show. Like, I like this guy. Wait, what's his name again? Char! Ah, yes, thank you, Amuro. Like, I like Char. More honestly, he's the fan favorite. But after finishing the entire show, Amuro Ray, man, it just feels different. Everybody talks about how a shonen protagonists are always expected to win and how they are OP, protected by plot armor. They clearly have not seen my boy Amuro operate. This boy man, this child, this hair is so much more reliable than your gung-ho shonen protag, because you know why? He went the opposite of gung-ho. He is more depressed. He is so depressed, in fact, the show has an ED that encourages him. And so, every episode ends with just a little additional moral support for the guy, no matter how grim of a note some episodes left us with. Oh, and let me tell you, he needs the song. You, my fellow viewers, need the song. I think that is why the show only ever got one ending theme. It is there to keep everyone mentally in check. Goku? Goku? Well, I heard he dies a lot, like a lot. And I actually prefer him dead because of that halo. It is so aesthetically pleasing on the guy. Amuro read a manual this thick in mere minutes. Once. And immediately able to pilot the secret weapon of the government and proceeds to net 4 kills. Including his dad. As the White Base embarks to find safety, Amuro, being the one who can pilot Gundam most efficiently, has to be forced to fight whenever an obstacle arises. And every time Amuro gets sorted out, there's this inexplicable feeling. I feel so reassured, so safe, like, another day, another episode. Everyone is saved once again. How's that for a stable life partner, ladies? Oh wow, it really worked, huh? I have no sympathy for the Zeon soldiers who had to face my boy Amuro. Wait, what am I saying? I just said I love Char. And this guy though, he is cool as hell too. His wife though, equally as cool, arguably cooler than him. This guy dude, oh my god, this guy who pilots the Big Zam.
Akahana looks pretty cool. Hey Big Zam!
Had a moment so raw, I had my jaw dropped and hung. His resolve was so strong, so potent, that at his dying breath, his malice manifests into a purple smoke of demon in open space. I wanted to take a moment to remind everyone that the show we are watching, Mobile Suit Gundam, is a hard sci-fi war story. And yet, they put in something that defies logic and did not opt for subtleties, or for the sake of blatantly convey the insanity of war. It is not a projection of some high-tech projector either. That right there is the culmination of war. It is serious and it is ugly. Hatred is ugly. Humans are ugly. This guy though, nah, not a fan. Even though he exhibits emotional swings of an adolescent many a times, Amuro's performance is steady on the uprise when he's in the one thing he resonates with the most, the machines, the Gundam. You can rely on this man, I mean boy, to do his one job and do it right. And he would be lucky if his teammates didn't become his baggage instead. His emotional outpour would cause plenty of drama among the crew of White Base, raises the stakes of survivability of everyone on board, since they are highly dependent on his ability to pilot the Gundam. While Amuro never really left his AT field down entirely between him and the rest, connections still inevitably sprout in these dire situations. Everybody cares about each other in their own ways. They grow inseparable after sharing both life and death together. This relationship that can only be born out of a warring situation imposed onto young, non-militants is what elevates the chemistry of White Base, driving an engaging story of bond, differ from the hard-coded military one of the rest. Speaking of AT field and this meme, how can I not mention that Amuro is the boy who got Get in the Robot, not just before Ikari Shinji from the GOAT that is Neon Genesis Evangelion. He got God before the internet. But seriously though, I'm not sure if there were any protagonists being forced to pilot a killing machine prior to Amuro, given the massive mecha genre and its lineage. But this one definitely takes the cake for being iconic, not because of some popular videos on the internet uttering it as a joke, but straight from the source. This slap, even though delivered awkwardly, both timing and animation, still hits straight into the heart, man. When I first saw it, I immediately thought it takes all the marks to be a worthy meme, and lo and behold. As for the mecha actions, the reuse of this sequence not only conditioned me to think that Amuro is neutralizing a challenge, but also the mission is done. It's like I'm the animal in a Skinner box. Show picture, mission complete. You just know he won't disappoint. This piece telegraphs more like soldiers about to die than Amuro shooting. Usually, montages like this would be your standard affair of anime protagonists curling some Zako, or even the show attempting to fill airtime in a convenient manner, right? But not when you are highly invested to the beloved cast in the show. The more I care about everyone in the White Base, the more relief I felt getting to see this sequence replace itself. Except for these few episodes. Oh god, Amuro, get in the fucking robot, get in, you're driving my anxiety insane. My girl Sailor cannot die because of your hang-ups, okay? Get your ass into the robot. Phew, what a relief. At one point, Amuro even dodged an awesome combination attack called the Jet Stream attack, which basically looks impossible to dodge head-on. Executed by 3 DOMs lining up and lunges towards the target in a straight line. This is a perspective shot. Do you think you can dodge it? If this is a Souls boss, gamers be mad complaining unfair. But not my boy Amuro, cause he's a god of war. Yes, he killed yet another poor soldier with a family. Children waiting for their dear papa to come home. Ah, my girl Sailor in the ship is safe again. Everyone is safe! Amuro, get in the robot, get in the robot, get in, get in! Amuro versus Char. The rivalry between these two is a recurring highlight throughout the show. This is part of the reason why I adore Gundam 79 so much. The show follows both sides of the war through the perspectives of these two aces. It has a solid pace of taking turns to show you how amateur scrambles throughout their ways in a war environment, while contrasting with grounded politics and tactics of the veterans. Together with the chemistry differences of the white-based crew I just mentioned, the result is a multi-faceted war story with rotating flavors. By the end, you care about both sides. Even though you disagree with one side on a macro level, you still hope for the best for the individuals under their flag. And then when you have both representatives face off each other, the implications of who would win is hugely beneficial for either side, and you would think they will fight under that pretense, right? But no, not at all. They are highly personal instead. Who is the better pilot? Who is in control of the flow of the match? It is not the optimal tactics of maximum damage while keeping minimal loss in the battlefield when these two met. It is taking risk, unconventional moves, being unreasonable, pitting primal instincts against each other. Suddenly, the battlefield turns into a mere boxing ring for them to settle the score. Spotlights are focused. No third parties can get into their way. And that is all the more riveting to witness. From the perspective of Amuro, you can even feel the turmoil that plagues him throughout the journey has been relieved momentarily when he is razor focused on the duel. And as an invested viewer, you can't help but to feel relief as well for the boy. Even though on the surface he is knees-deep engaged in the battle he hated, the emotional weight he carried could be lifted nonetheless in this dancing flow of high-level combat. Every suffering up to this point were seemingly not important, or they were meant to push him even further. What's good for all the killing up until this point? At least his sufferings have bolstered him enough to be equal against the literal legend on the battlefield. You could even say that Char Aznable makes him whole. So, with so many capable men and women in the battlefield, you might be wondering how's a 15-year-old boy survive and kill so many? Is he wearing too thick of a plot armor? Nay, he is the embodiment of plot armor. He kills with his plot armor. And you know what's so freaking cool about that? A plot armor is still an armor that can be taken off by its wearer. They gave Gundam a final scene where it gets destroyed. Gundam, a mere tool of war, serves its purpose until its final moment. The audacity to set a toy-selling figure that brings in the dough to be decimated in such a grotesque way. A point made apparent. Glory on the battlefield aside though, let me tell you for certain that this kid did not have it easy. Oh, not at all, my friends. There were plenty of times he was forced to face the defeated enemy at their dying breath in their flesh, instead of behind the machines they manned. And every time it happened, he gets to be reminded that this war brings nothing but tragedy, and that he's now part of it, causing it. This poor boy met his mom in his homeland, gets scolded by her for becoming a soldier, and was told he is unlike the sweet boy she remembers he used to be. Imagine being told that directly from the mouth of your blood mother while you are not even doing the whole war fighting thing out of total free will to begin with. Remember his dad who got sucked out to space? Turns out he survived. But Amuro found out he has gone mad from brain damage during the accident upon a reunion later. The accident that he caused offhandedly. A boy forced into a war and grow estranged to both his parents. A downward spiral from the very first moment. This is the first Mobile Suit Gundam. Wait, what was the video about again? You think this boy enjoys killing? But no matter, as long as he kills, he is a great asset for the Earth Federation. You think he has the leisure to requite love from his childhood friend? Oh no. Hayato, you short little inferior complex Nihonjin, you are short and... Okay, he's okay-ish cool in Zeta. Or maybe he has never had a thing for Frau Bo to begin with. You know, maybe he's not a fan of Osana Najimi turned romantic partner sort of guy. He goes for the big fish. He has a crush on Lieutenant Matilda, and it was love at first sight. You know what? Maybe that's when I start to adore Amuro, because he and I, kindred spirits when it comes to women. Okay, she died too. Yeah, she died. In a war he so despised. Just take another away from him. Just take it all. Take it all. Take it all. When he gets the moment with Lalah though, I did not understand. He's been the furthest away during this moment, but I'm glad they made a moment for those two beings to be connected. But Amuro is so far, far away I couldn't reach. Is he a god? The god of war we have been praising him to be? Or is he human all along? Tired of the war that took away everything from him? Tired of the conflict that even his outstanding ability cannot change the grand scheme of things? Wanting a new land where it can all restart, where those who are not interested in conflicts could strive, where no hatred being tossed against each other. I think I might just call this mind sex in space. Now, jokes aside though, it's not been long since I watched the show, and after letting this moment sink in my mind a little longer, I might have developed just enough to be able to interpret this scene better when I first saw it. And having watched the sequel Zeta, it is at least clear to me that this surreal interaction has more implications among the characters in the entire saga of Gundam. But boy did it start off crazy. But like I said in the introduction, I'm but just a casual Gundam fan who have just started my journey with the series. I can't tell what exactly new types are in my own words, but I sure as hell want to find out myself after this very scene that blows me away. All I can say right now is, perhaps empathy remains as strong between where human conflicts brew. It's beyond war, beyond science, beyond space. And so, this is why I love Amuro, the Legend of Space Wars Ray, and by extension, Kido Senshi Gundam. Calling it one of the greatest works of all time is no exaggeration. The reason why it blew my expectations away is how apparently well made it is. Don't let the repeat usage of footages downplay the otherwise massive efforts put in to make every episode refreshing to watch. The quality in display dwarfs that little common compromise anime tends to practice. There's no shortage of unique cuts at all. This show really delivers moments after moments. I totally understand why it has such a huge dedicated following, and that Gundam as a whole would pivot from here into the franchise we now know. Did I expect to follow a war story this gut-wrenching from a young boy's perspective? No. Did I expect such diverse character writings all working together in a space drama to draw me into the story? Definitely not. Did I expect a war allegory so devastatingly portrayed yet packaged with no short of entertainment value? No way in hell if I have not took the first step. But yet, here we are. Moments so unhinged it left a brand in me. Characters so broken, I wonder did they really need to went that far? And a message so potent, it speaks through a generation of people. So, I can't wait to see how Amuro walks through his entire life journey in the coming installments. To watch him grow, to see him heal, or to see him endure even more. Oh hell yeah! Either you are a long-time fan of Gundam or a newcomer, I hope this idea of a video is worth your time. And please do let me know why Gundam 79 is special to you too. To all who have watched till the end, thank you very much. And I'll see you from the moon.